Hi there, I'm Virginia Lindsay of Ginger Cake Patterns and Design, and today we're going to make this cute little scrappy fabric pumpkin. This is a project that I did for my blog probably about 10 years ago, and since then I've made probably a dozen of these and given them away to family and friends and then kept for myself too. It is a really easy project. You get to use your scraps, which you know I love, and we're going to get started on that in just a minute. But first, I want to introduce you to my sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online creative community. There's thousands of classes for all sorts of topics like photography, web design, crafts. There's a couple sewing classes. There's macrame, all sorts of fun things. And I've really enjoyed using it. You guys know I talk about it a lot on here. Right now I'm taking a little class on houseplants care. I don't know if you've noticed, houseplants seem to be really back in if they were ever out. I just seem to be noticing them a lot more. So I wanted to kind of get up on my skills of taking care of houseplants. So I'm going to show you a little clip of that right now. But first, I want to remind you that for a limited time, the first 1,000 people to click on the link down below in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. So be sure to do that. Click on that link. But first, we're going to watch a quick little section of this course I'm taking. So Skillshare is designed for learning with no ads, and they are always adding new classes. For less than $10 a month, it's really a fantastic value. So on this course, he's showing you, he encourages you to buy your own plant, and he talks about repotting it and how to care for it. It's really nice. He just walks you through the steps. It's about 7 short 5 or 6 minute classes in the course. And then all classes include a project and a goal like that. The individual lessons are short and easy to do in your busy life. And I think you guys will really love it. I love making this. To save time, I've already cut out everything. So the first thing you need is, on my blog, you can cut out there's a template to print out this circle. It's basically just a 5-inch circle. But if you want to print it out, you're welcome to. There's a link to my blog there. And then you cut out 2 solid circles. You don't have to do solid, but I think that works a little better. And then go ahead and fuse interfacing to the back. Have 2 of those. Set them aside for now. Also, for the stem right here, you need a piece of, I use wool felt, and I'm going to just roll that up, and it's going to be my stem right here. The other option, sometimes I do leaves and sometimes I don't. You can decide. Leaves would just be more felt if you have it. And then I usually like to do like a couple shades. So then the next big thing you need to do is to go through your orange scraps or through your stash. And the pieces are 8.5 in length, and then the width doesn't matter quite as much, but you don't want to do anything too skinny. See, these are all about 6 inches or 4.5 inches. And basically, when you lay them all out, they need to, I've already put these in order. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But they need to be, when you add them all together, they need to be about 36 inches long to make this nice full pumpkin. So what I've done, it's about 36 inches. I've done, again, like using our same concepts as in our other videos about mixing scrap fabrics, like right here, one of these videos. I've mixed together my different textures. I have solids right here. I have my bold prints right here, right here, right here. And then I have kind of my little prints. And then this is pretty bold too. And so what this does, when you make the pumpkin, you're going to have parts of it that pop and parts of it that kind of are supporting the bold pieces. If you did it all in the bold fabric, it would just kind of look like a jumble. So it is important when you're choosing to do this mixture. So you get all your pieces. They're varying widths, but they're all the same height, which is 8.5 inches. But what matters is that when they're put all together, they lined up like this, they're about 36 inches. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew them all together and make one long strip. I'm going to sew them together and I'm going to press the seams out. Okay, here it is. I sewed it all together, and then I actually, when I created the whole long strip, then I went ahead and I folded it back together to make a loop, a simple loop like this. But on this last one, when I sold it, when I made it into a loop, I left an opening. If you can see that, it's an opening of about 4 inches. And that's important for turning the whole piece out at the end. Because now I'm going to sew, I think I'm going to sew on the other side though. So I'm going to turn it this way. And then I'm going to sew around the entire top perimeter, all through around here to the end, but I'm going to sew a gathering stitch, meaning I'm going to sew a nice long stitch, the longest setting on my straight stitch. If I'm going to say I start right here, I'm going to sew all the way around, and then when I come back here, I leave about a finger or a little bit, maybe a pinky finger, separating the two. I don't cross over. Okay, you leave like a little opening so then you can gather it all together so that it can fit around the circle. I'm going to do that on both ends, all the way around, but leave the opening, your longest stitch, the gathering stitch, and about 1/4 of an inch above the from the raw edge. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to gather it together and fit it so that it all works together. Okay, if you can see the gathering stitch I sewed all the way around. On my machine I had to set it to a 5, but that's as long as mine goes. So what you want to do is, these are the threads from the gathering stitch I just made, and you can see right here I did not cross them over. And so you just separate the top ones from the bottom ones. See, those back ones are back there, they aren't to be touched, and then just one at a time give them a gentle pull. And then switch over to the other one. I think this is kind of fun. Okay, and then we're going to do the same for the bottom. We're not doing the entire thing right now. We're going to do that when we're going to pin the circle, the top circle on, and then you do the final gathering. But this is just kind of the initial gather. It shouldn't take too long. Just make sure it kind of spreads out between all the pieces fairly easily, or fairly evenly. So now that that is done, and you can see this one, this bottom one I gathered a little bit more, so I'm going to gather this one a little bit more. Things don't have to be perfect because pumpkins are not perfect. Okay, so now we have your main piece, and what you're going to do is you're going to turn this inside out, and you're going to kind of mark the 4. I like to fold mine in half like this, and that makes some marks right on. You can see the 4 sections that I've created by doing that. And so all you're going to do is make 4 sections on here too. Just pin this to one here. We're just trying to get an idea. And then this, you can see the fold right there. It's going to go over here. And then we're going to kind of have it like this. Bring the fold out there. And then I can still see my little fold I made right there, and that's going to go right here. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually move these pins down a little bit lower so that they're not crossing the gather. And this is a way that you can gather many things if you're making garments. This is an easy way to gather so that you can make sure your pieces fit together really nicely. So then we just gather a little bit more. So while it's still pinned on here, oh, you know what? I did the other side. I'm just gonna give it some, just the same way. We're just gonna make it until we can kind of pin it all around. So just keep working it until it's a nice fit. Okay, so now I gathered it all the way around so that it fits. You can see what a nice fit it is on the circle. So go ahead and check and make sure that you don't have one section that's not as gathered as the rest. You can kind of do this kind of thing. Everything should be able to move around. That should take you, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 minutes, maybe the first time longer to get that going. And then when you do the bottom edge, it's going to be quicker. But so right now have those threads kind of separate like this. And we're going to go ahead over to the sewing machine and sew on the side of the gather all the way around to secure the ends to the sides. There we go. Okay. It looks like this. I'm going to take out my pins and I'm going to show you what that side is. Okay, so let's turn it inside out. And there it is, all nicely gathered on the base. Now this is the bottom. So now we're going to create the top piece. And this is how I'm going to add the cute little stem. This is just a piece of felt. It is about 5.5 inches by 2 inches, 2.25 inches. And I'm just going to roll it up like this. And how I'm going to attach it is, well, now I'm going to have to re-roll it. I'm just going to cut a little slit here in my top piece. And insert the stem. And over at my sewing machine, I'm simply going to just go ahead and sew over the entire thing. And that will secure the stem in place. Okay, and then we're going to do the exact same thing to gather it onto. We're going to put these two together the exact way we did the base. Okay, there's the stem top. So just to clarify, you sew over the entire folded, like this part is folded, this part is open where the stem, and this is kind of thick, so, but it's squishy. So I was able to just kind of have my machine sew over it. But if that's a problem for you, take out the stem, make it skinnier. It's not going to matter if it doesn't have quite so many rolls to it. Okay, I have both sides sewn on and I trimmed some threads off. Now you just need to find that opening on the side and turn it inside out. Still some threads to get here. Okay, so now you'll see, just kind of go ahead and check to make sure you caught all the seams, okay? If you want, and you have these like little, you can pick those out. I'm probably not going to bother. And so now you have a great big bunch of polyester fiber fill. Okay, it's all stuffed. So one fun thing about this is, so I'm going to trim these threads off later. But when you make these, they're funny because you can kind of really manipulate them to be like a high up one or a really funny kind of flat one. Whatever you want to do. And then they look good in a grouping. So now all I have to do is close this up with just a needle and thread and a little ladder stitch. Again, it's kind of hidden here in the side, so you don't have to worry about it too much. And I think it's going to make a great little grouping. So one difference is on this one, you can see it's kind of gathered right here in the middle, or kind of tucked. And that is because I put a button on the bottom and I used a doll needle to kind of come up through and down again, and I secured that with some stiff thread. So that's an option. I don't think it's totally necessary though. It's nice because this one is a little bit more structured with that, but and that's a really easy option if you like that look. It's kind of cute because it's more structured, but these also look great when they're all together, and you can kind of go like this. So that's it, friends. I'm going to sew this together and then I'm going to show you a picture of them on my mantle in my house. Okay, here they are in action. Aren't they cute? I love how they kind of go together, and because the orange, even though they're all different, the orange scraps kind of brings them together. So that's really fun. I hope you guys get to make one soon. Here's the one I just made. You can really see its shape a little bit better here. I love it. It's so fun. I've got to find a new spot for it because I don't think I need a fourth in this area. I hope you guys get to make one, and I'll be seeing you soon with more sewing videos. So subscribe to my channel, and also please check out my sponsor, Skillshare. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.